think about the background cover.
Well, I get a lot of multiple shots of bucks.
All right, Gabe, we're gonna check Paul here. Paul's worked for me for quite a few years, and show you how we go about setting a customer up with a bow. First thing we're gonna do is check his eye dominancy. So, Paul, what I want you to do is put your hands out in front of you, make a circle, look at me with both eyes open through that hole, and then pull it back to you slowly. And as you can see, Paul's hand's going right to his right eye, so that's showing us that he's right eye dominant. He's also right-handed, so some instances we'll have a gentleman that's left-handed and right eye dominant. That happens quite often too, so
yes, it does. It's
really important that we check the eye dominancy. Now what we're going to do is measure Paul up for draw length, and what we're going to do there is get his wingspan. And when you do this, you want to make sure that you get your fingers straight out. Try to get your arms in line with your back. And we'll put the tape measure right there on his index finger. And come to this index finger. And we're going to start him out at 28.5. That'll give us a starting point with his new bow to, you know, depending on what brand it is, or that it could be 28.5 or it could be 28 possibly. Usually it's not any longer than that. All right, now that Paul's made a decision on a bow, we're gonna fit it to him. But one important part about fitting this bow to him is fitting the release to him to start with. If you can notice that the way to check your release for proper fit is the head, put it on your wrist, tighten the strap down, and then the head of the release should come to this knuckle here, okay? Right now it's quite a bit too long, which is going to make his anchor point come back behind his head, we don't want that. So with this release, it's adjustable. We can just turn it in here, which will allow us to get the proper fit for him. So once we get that, we can just tighten this set screw up, and we'll start there with it. Getting the release fitted to you properly is just as critical as getting the draw length set. Without the release being properly fitted, the draw length isn't going to feel right. So we're going to start out here. Paul's used to shooting a 29-inch bow, so we're going to start him out with that. And as you can see, to make it fit him, he's bringing his hand back behind his head, bringing the string way back to get his arm and shoulder down. Now if he pushes his arm and shoulder out to where you're going to notice that his shoulder is popped up, he's hyperextending his arm, and his elbow's sagging a little bit. So what we can do is we can take this back and change the modules on it and put it at 28.5 for him and see what that feels like to him and how it looks on him. All right, we've just changed the draw length to 28.5 on this bow, and I'm just going to go over the hand grip. Putting your hand into the grip correctly. Most people always want to grab the bow like this and hold it like that. Very poor grip selection there. If you want to do, easiest way to learn to get your hand in the grip right is take your two fingertips, set them on the front, and then push your hand into the bowl like that. Now you can see that grip's coming right down my lifeline, and I'm able to put pressure against that grip. This way I'm just shooting off my thumb. It's going to make the bow torque a lot. It's also going to make your draw length wrong. So easiest way is take those two fingertips, put them right on the front, nice loose thumb, and then roll these in, and they'll hang out like on a 45-degree angle there. And if you roll your fingers in, that'll help put that grip in the same spot every time. Okay, Let's see. We can see how Paul's elbows came up, how his shoulder is down now. He's got just a natural bend in the arm. That's from the shoulder going down and having his hand in the right position. That will allow him to use his back muscles here to push and pull through the shot to make the bow steadier. Notice how much clearance is here with his arm. Not gonna have any trouble with hitting clothes, even heavy clothes. See how nice the string lines up on his face. He's got real solid anchor points. That's standing up nice and straight. Got a little bit more weight on his front hip. That's all the things that you're looking for when the bow's properly fit to you. All right, now that we've got the bow properly fitted to Paul, we can make a selection on arrow rest and sights and quiver and that, stabilizer. But you could see the difference between the bow not fitting him right and the bow fitting him right. It's going to make him a lot stronger shot, make a lot more accurate, easier to shoot long range more accurately. Definitely is a plus getting the bow fitted to you right. In the past, we've always used a brass knocking point for your knock height of your arrow. Now, with all the bows being so much shorter axle to axle, such a sharper string angle, it is very beneficial to use a string loop, or a D loop, they call it. And what a string loop will do for you is it'll prevent you from preloading your arrow. Usually allow you to drop down a spline on your arrow. It aligns your peep sight. Your string will last much longer, and the benefits are just superior to a brass knocking point. Okay, so now we're going to go look at some arrow rest. And the most popular arrow rest you have nowadays is the whisker biscuit. That's because it's a full capture rest. You don't have to worry about the arrow falling out of it, which everybody likes. With the whisker biscuit, it is a fairly quiet rest to draw against. It keeps your arrow secure in there. It's very safe to shoot. If there is a downfall to it, you're getting fletching contact. And on a cold, frosty morning, you can definitely hear the arrow draw against the bristles, which on a mature deer, you're probably going to spook him up close. Then you now have drop away rest, which the benefit to them is you have zero fletching contact. But the biggest benefit that I like about them is you can wrap them in moleskin, you can wrap your shelf in moleskin, and draw completely silent against it, especially on one of those cold, frosty mornings. There's several different styles of drop away. One of the most popular now is the Ultra Rest by QAD, and that is also a full containment rest like the whisker biscuit. But you have the benefit of making it silent and having it out of the way before your fletching gets there, so you have zero contact. So you have all the benefits of a whisker biscuit, of the full containment and safety issue, but you have the accuracy and that of a drop away rest. Okay, now we're going to go over some different sights. One real popular sight is a movable single pin sight, especially here in Michigan, tree stand hunting. Gives you the one single pin, and then it's adjustable on the back. The reason hunters like it is because they have one pin to concentrate on and not multiple pins. They find it distracting with a multiple pin sight. But with the new style one pin sights, you can adjust them from say 20 to 70 yards. You have a piece of tape that goes on the back here, and so you can still practice at your long distance, which is really good for your form and shooting habits. You can also use it for 3D shooting that way, but in the field, most hunters will lock it down about 25 yards, and it gives you the range from 0 to 30 yards to still be in the kill zone, depending on how fast your bow is. And then a lot of guys will use a multi-pin sight. This is a new one from Hoyt. This is the Carbon Pilot. It's kind of unique that it has 2 carbon rods here that you can actually adjust the distance of your sight being from the riser in and out. It makes your pins, it can clear your pin up for you. Has a level in it. It's really lightweight to match the carbon bow. 5-pin sight. What I find can be an advantage of shooting a multiple pin sight over the years is once you have sighted in, say you sighted in at 25, 35, 45, 55, and you're used to shooting that, you shoot 3D shoots, you shoot in your backyard at your 3D target or your spot target. And say in a hunting situation, you're on an elk hunt and you guess this elk to be 35 yards away. But for some reason your 45-yard pin's just sitting right in the vitals. Well, you'll want to trust that pin because it's telling you that that animal is farther than what you have guessed it at. Trust your pin, and 99% of the time that arrow's going to hit where that pin is at. Definitely want to have a sight with a level on it. As you can see, this has a level. You get past 20 yards, it's going to make a huge difference in your shot. Get on a little bit of a side hill or that, your muscles are going to tighten up to that hill. You're going to feel like you're level. You look at your level and you're not. So then you want to level your bow out to bring your pin back to the level stage. I would just recommend a real high quality sight. Don't skimp out on the sight. Another thing that you want to be aware of with all your fiber optics now is when you get outside, they can be very bright. Lots of times you'll have to take a piece of black tape or something and cover up your fiber optic, and then you can peel it back as it gets darker. But to keep those pins dimmer so you're not star brightening yourself and making yourself focus on the pin instead of your spot. Now we're going to go to stabilizers. Just as in the Carbon Element and the Carbon Matrix Plus, we have a new Fuse carbon blade stabilizer that is a new superior technology. It's actually a flat bladed style stabilizer. It uses shock rods on the weights here. But by having the carbon in the middle here, it allows us to get the weight out front farther. And then we have a doinker system in the middle of it to take vibration out. But the nice advantage to this, or one of the advantages to this stabilizer, is that you can add weights to it. A lot of stabilizers in the past here, you haven't been able to add weights to it. With this one, they have cap weights that you can add to it. By doing that, you can weight the front of your bow and make your pins settle down better for you. You won't want to start out with a ton of weight, but as you get shooting more and more, you'll find that by adding more weight to the front of your stabilizer, that your shot is going to be stronger with a steadier pin. And the other advantage to this blade style stabilizer, in a windy condition, you're not going to get the push of the wind against your stabilizer trying to push your bow sideways on you.